Hey guys, how we doing? So, loving the Swagkari videos, and you guys suggested I do some dissecting videos, and Itachi is my favourite character in Naruto, so I'm going to be starting with that. Don't worry, I'm going to be doing some of the versus videos as well. There's only so much I can do in so much time. I'm only a man. Anyway, dissecting Itachi Uchiha. I'm so looking forward to this. It's going to be so interesting. It's going to be so nerdy. It's going to be like, Anyway, let's do this.
Alright, let's get to talking about Itachi.
Right.
Ever since I started doing character dissections a couple weeks ago, pretty much all of you guys have been asking me to do an Itachi character dissection.
Yes.
And I can totally understand why. He's one of the most beloved characters in the entire series. Pretty much everybody across the whole fandom likes this guy.
love
But
him.
why is that? Why does everybody like Itachi so much? Well, obviously I can't speak for everybody else, but me personally, I really appreciate Itachi's complexity, and I can totally get on board with his moral code. A
Yes.
big issue many people have with many of Naruto's characters, specifically its antagonists, is that most of them have pretty questionable motivations, and the moral code that they operate under is very shaky or flimsy at best. This is, at the very least, how they seem at the surface level. It's very easy to interpret Obito, for example, as a deranged psychopath out to rule the world solely because he got friend-zoned by Rin. Many of the things that I personally believe about Obito aren't outright stated anywhere in the series, and the same can be said about many of Naruto's other villains, so it's generally up to the viewer to interpret their actions by themselves. The same can't be said about Itachi, because pretty much everything about his motivations is explained to the audience pretty well. Another thing that also helps set Itachi apart from most of Naruto's other villains is the fact that he's a very grounded character. Typically, Naruto's morally gray characters aren't written very subtly. I've found that you can generally categorize most of the antagonists in this series under one of two categories.
Right.
Characters who are very clearly evil and have pretty grounded or selfish goals, like Hidan, Kakazu, Orochimaru, Sasori,
And then the
etc.
other
Or
one?
characters who are morally gray but have world-changing goals in mind, aiming to do something ridiculous by completing these grandiose schemes and turning the world into a utopia. Madara, Obito, Nagato, and even Sasuke at the end of the series all fall under this second category, and I can see how to some people it's hard to look at these guys as human beings as opposed to shonen antagonists because of how ridiculous their motivations are.
Yeah,
Then, on the other
it's
hand,
so
you have
over the top.
Itachi, a morally gray character who has very grounded goals. Just keep his little brother safe and protect the Hidden Leaf Village. They're very simple goals, and it's very easy to get behind them. The things that Itachi wants to accomplish are a whole lot more relatable than the things that many of the other characters in the series want to accomplish, and it makes him feel incredibly human by comparison. It doesn't hurt that he's a total badass, and every time he's on screen he manages to steal the show, but there's a whole lot more to Itachi than everything I've mentioned so far. All of this said, he's still more complex than people give him credit for, because, well, if he wasn't, there wouldn't be any need for this video. One thing I think I need to get out of the way immediately is the fact that Itachi was 14 years old when he wiped out the Uchiha clan, and 17 or 18 years old when he beat Kakashi in Part 1. This is very important to keep in mind, and it's a fact that I think a lot of people miss because it's not pushed very hard in the series at all. Itachi's a young kid, barely any older than I am, and even in Shippuden, by the time he died during his fight against Sasuke, Itachi was only 21. This adds an entirely new dimension to his character, as I'm sure many of you imagined Itachi was much older than he actually was. It's one thing to imagine an adult being forced to wipe out their entire family and being ostracized from their village for the sake of its own safety, but imagining a kid being tasked with the same thing is an entirely different issue. Not only does this make it pretty much impossible to hate Itachi, but it adds an extra layer of tragedy to his character that wouldn't have otherwise been there, especially considering his personality. Itachi was a very quiet and nice kid, one who harbored no ill will toward the outside world, and despite being one of the greatest prodigies in the history of the world, Itachi still somehow remained humble and didn't develop a sense of arrogance. The Itachi Hiden books go into greater detail about his personality, and show that despite the fact that he was an introvert, he genuinely cared about the well-being of everybody he knew. Both these novels and the main series also make it a point to inform the audience that Itachi is a pacifist and doesn't like to fight, despite how talented he is.
He's amazing.
There are many other facets to Itachi's personality explored in the series, but I think you get the idea. The series does a pretty decent job describing who Itachi is anyway, so I doubt I need to go into much further detail. Anyway, not only do all of these factors make Itachi an admirable kid in his own right, completely disregarding the Uchiha clan massacre, it also makes the Uchiha clan massacre a much more interesting event. See, there are a lot of things worth taking into consideration here. Of course, there are all of the factors that make up Itachi's personality that I've just mentioned, but there's also the fact that he was only 14 when he was asked to wipe out his clan, and there's the additional fact that he lived to see some of the Third Shinobi World War. All of these things might not sound like a whole lot on their own, but let me explain how they all lend to making this a much more complex problem for Itachi. First of all, Itachi's introverted nature is very important to keep in mind here, since introverts are obviously more disconnected than most most people are from other people. I also doubt I need to tell you how smart Itachi was, even as a kid. Combine
Very
Itachi's
clever.
introversion with a sharp
Very
analytical
clever.
mind,
Like,
and
goddamn.
you get a kid who's got a very objective outlook on things. The Itachi Hiden novels explain that Itachi liked to
so
watch people
far
from a
ahead.
distance instead of interacting with them directly, and this gave him a much more objective view of people than you would expect him to have. The fact that Itachi studied people before developing relationships with them kept him at least partially from developing any subconscious biases. This made him much more individualistic than many of the other members of his clan. Many of his kin developed a strong blind loyalty for the Uchiha clan, but it was a loyalty that Itachi did not share. He still cared about his family, of course, but he didn't place their needs above the needs of everybody else. So when his clan ran the risk of starting a war by planning a coup against the Hidden Leaf Village, it makes total sense why Itachi would oppose his father here. This is especially true when you consider, again, Itachi saw some of the Third Shinobi World War and knew how devastating war could be. Even if it was for the sake of his clan, I don't think Itachi was willing to live through another one. This put Itachi in what must have been the worst position ever. As a trusted member of the Anbu Black Ops, he had the ability to report the Uchiha's plan to the Leaf's higher-ups, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to do that because of what it might mean for his family. Of course, as you all know, he did eventually make the decision to tell Danzo, Hiruzen, and everybody else about the Uchiha's plan, but only because he had no idea how to solve the problem himself. Initially, the solution was going to be to have Shisui cast Koto Amatsu Kami on Itachi's father to keep the coup from happening in the first place, but Danzo ruined that when he killed Shisui and took one of his eyes. This made things even more complicated for Itachi, as I'm sure Itachi really wanted to convict Danzo of murder because he knew of his involvement in Shisui's death, but all that would do is raise tensions between the Uchiha and the Hidden Leaf Village, and it would make war almost a nigh certainty. Still, the fact that Itachi was able to swallow how he personally felt about Danzo, despite his involvement in his best friend's murder, and go through with the mission that he was later given by Hiruzen and Danzo, speaks volumes about Itachi's integrity. I'm sure part of it had to do with the fact that Itachi was still a quiet and nervous kid and didn't want to go through with challenging such a powerful figure, but still, in his position, the last thing I would want to do is have to listen to Danzo, especially if he told me I had to kill my entire clan. However, Itachi put the safety of Sasuke and the Hidden Leaf Village first, and decided to go through with the mission anyway. Many people question why it was necessary for Itachi to kill every single member of the Uchiha clan, but the general public didn't know about the coup that Fugaku was planning. So as far as they were aware, the Hidden Leaf and the Uchiha were on great terms. If the Hidden Leaf were to organize an attack on the Uchiha clan, it would do two things. One, it would make them look really bad for
because no one knows
pretty much
the actual
and
ins
two,
and outs
if
of
they weren't
everything.
able to kill all of the Uchiha in one fell swoop, it would instantly ignite a war. Having Itachi murder all of the Uchiha while they were sleeping, and having him do so under the guise of a psychotic murderer solved both of these issues, and it would also keep Sasuke from developing any ill will
meant he
towards
was
the Hidden
betraying
Leaf
this
Village. He was willing
village,
to have his life completely
focus it on
destroyed if it
him,
meant protecting
no one
his
else gets
village and his
blamed.
younger brother, and was even willing to go so far as to join the Akatsuki to continue working for the Leaf as a spy. Even while serving under the Akatsuki, Itachi's pacifism and humility still remained intact, as shown when he urged Kisame not to start a fight with too many people in the Leaf, not for his own benefit, but to keep from causing too much collateral damage, and furthermore by the fact that he rarely ever boasted, and if he ever did, it was to keep up the persona of a psychopath.
Yeah, he just wanted people to think he was
Speaking of this persona, Itachi's love for Sasuke was so strong that one of his primary goals was to make this persona as dastardly as possible in order to get people to hate Itachi and hail Sasuke as a hero whenever he killed him. Itachi wanted nothing but the best for Sasuke, and felt incredibly guilty when he found out that Sasuke had learned the truth about him. He even went so far as to admit to Sasuke that he made a mistake by acting the way he had, and condemned himself for a decision that he had made 7 years earlier. I mean, if this doesn't show you how humble the guy is, I don't know what will. I think at this point I'm just repeating myself in different ways, so I should probably get to the conclusion of this video, which is that Itachi's a very selfless and humble guy. I would give some supporting reasons here to make the ending a little less awkward, but I've kind of already stated everything in this video so far. I know this was a little bit shorter than the other character dissections that I've done, but Itachi doesn't have a whole lot of significance in the series outside of his interactions with Sasuke and his participation in the Uchiha clan massacre. So explaining his relationship with them is the best way to break his character down, I find, anyway. Anyhow, since this series has been so successful, I'll let you guys decide which character I tackle in the next dissection video. On the Obito video, I left a comment with the choices Madara, Nagato, and Itachi, and since Itachi won that poll, now it's down to Madara and Nagato. Leave your votes in the comments below, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and maybe leave a like. Also, if you really love me, maybe consider checking the description for the link to my Patreon. I hate begging for money, but I mean, I do need food. And also, if you pledge to the Patreon, any more than $1 at all, you get access to the patron-only Discord server. Once more people make their way in there, I'll start hosting patron Discord calls, so you guys will have that to look forward to. Anyway, yeah, I'm dragging the outro up for too long. You don't have to pledge to the Patreon Patreon, but, you know, it's there. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching the video all the way to the end. Hope to see you in my next video, and I'll talk to you later. Swagkage out. Bye.
Cool. That was awesome. I love it. I love it. Itachi's my favourite. Like, just loved learning the truth about him. Yeah, and stuff. And yeah, that moment where he's disappearing and that was like, oh, totes emotion. It's awesome. Yeah, that was cool. So that was awesome. Yeah, I'll be doing some more dissecting Naruto characters from Swagkage reaction stuff. I think Madara's next, and then a couple more, and then we're going to do some versus videos, and yeah. So let me know if you want me to keep doing these. I really enjoy these. I absolutely love it. But I don't want to keep boring everyone with my Naruto related reactions to stuff. But I love Naruto. But yeah. Thank you very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. Yes, you guys. All of you guys. Next time.